And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have a magnificent guest with us tonight, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than Student Regional Minister Rodney Muhammad, an activist, a family man, a believer, a historian, a scholar, and so much more. But number one, a brother to us and is very kind. So we salute you and your family. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam, brother. Thank you
Yes, sir.
very much for having me on.
Yes, the honor is ours. On behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast, we thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come have a conversation with us.
Oh, yes,
Uh,
sir.
Brother Minister, it has been 30 years since the great monumentous Million Man March. And there are people, who I explained to my father, many guests, primarily not just millennials, but under Generation X and people who don't know about the Million Man March. And in 2025, we got so many more questions for you. But can you let us know, for those who don't know, primarily young people, why was the Million Man March important, and why is the Million Man March important?
Yes, sir. It's very important um, to go to the why, which is always good to go to because that takes you into the what.
Yes, sir.
And but many people don't know that this started September 17th, 1985, 10 years prior to the Million Man March. And of course, to abbreviate things, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had what he described as a vision.
Mm.
Later, he would he would describe it as a more than a vision
Yes, sir.
experience. But but by 1989, he did a press conference in Washington, D.C., and he talked about this experience and what he was made to see in the mind of the current president, Ronald Reagan, and every president since then, he's been
Mm,
made to see the mind of that president. But the plot was to kill a leader of a Muslim nation,
mm,
that the enemy of this country would be a Muslim leader and that nation that leader was over. And he identified it at that time as Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. At that time, Ronald Reagan, the president of the United States, had an executive, well, he calls it an executive order. I don't know if he had the right to
mm,
do that. And of course, it always tested us because in our restrictive law, we believe in obeying the laws of those in the land where we are, as long as it does not conflict with the law, command, and directive of God.
mm,
And so when they were planning to kill Gaddafi, and this attack would be on the Libyan nation, a Muslim nation, as far as we were concerned, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said he was going to warn Gaddafi
mm,
and his high command, and he did just that. And when it was made known to President Reagan that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had traveled to Libya,
okay.
after he had said no American was to travel there, then it was supposed to be an all points bulletin out for Louis Farrakhan.
Mm.
And the minister did not have somebody smuggle him into the country, neither did he creep in unknowingly across the border. He came in like every other citizen here. In fact, he handed over his passport to be stamped.
Mm.
And this for some of us, this was more than enough to show us that our God is able to hide us in plain sight.
Yes, sir.
But suffice it to say that after he addressed that press conference in Washington, D.C., following a Savior's Day that we had in Washington, D.C. that year, um, I was sitting, I can't remember the exact room where we were sitting, but I do remember Claudette Marie Muhammad was the chief of protocol then, and he said to her, Sister, I want you to book me for every city in this nation.
mm.
And that really began what became known as the Stop the Killing Tour.
Yes, sir.
And I remember us going to California, and that was a big night in California with the Oliver X. Beasley slaying, and but it was just city after city after city.
Mm,
And I can say that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan certainly traveled the breadth of this land in a way that I had never seen in my life. He went to every city, large or small. He was in those cities, and the message of stop the killing brought out so much that served as medicine for Black America, and in truth, if it would be taken, even medicine for white America. Um, Men's meetings culminated. Now, I
mhm,
want to go back directly to your question about the importance of it and why the 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 minister saw as this reality and revelation unrolled inside of him. Yes, it's a Muslim leader, and yes, it's a Muslim nation, but it's not only Colonel Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, but it turned out to be Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam as a target. And the minister said the occasion that they're going to use to invite them into the Black community to do what they have in mind to do with us would be the antisocial and even criminal behavior, particularly of our young people.
mm,
So the Stop the Killing had a target. Now, mind you, this was not something new for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. When I first sat before him as a lost found in 1979, we were in a gymnasium at Martin Luther King High School in Chicago. Um, he was talking then about us killing one another.
mm,
And if I could say this, he was the lone voice in Black America talking about this.
mm.
There might have been one or two when we got to a certain city that had some measure of focus on this, but no one was focused on what we were doing to each other like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And for the viewers, they should know the minister said what other people do to us is important, but what is more important is what we are doing to each other. And that trained me to focus always on what we're doing to each other. And it trained me to focus myself in a way that I can say in the years that I've tried to serve him and had to engage the public, I've never fought another Black person in public.
Mm,
Even if we were in disagreements and expressed those disagreements in a private setting, I just took the hits in the public, but I never retaliated in the public
mm,
because whatever we do, particularly in the public, one to the other, is only to the delight of our enemies. I didn't like seeing our dear brother Stephen A. Smith fighting with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett in the public.
mm,
There have been entertainers on different podcasts uh, in the public tearing each other down. And, you know, this kind of recklessness and the absence of guidance, these are the penalties we pay for rejection of the messenger.
mm,
And so this push that came from the More Than a Vision experience, 10 years later, after men's meetings, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, I want 1 million of you to meet me in Washington, D.C. And of course, he thought about calling those words back, but they couldn't be called back. And the words caused us, the words that came from his mouth, not mine, but his mouth, caused us to have to move forward. And
Mm.
uh, our God is something, Brother Joshua,
Yes,
because
sir.
if you just start walking, you'll see people show up. You'll see opportunities show up. Uh, there'll be many things. And sometimes we don't do things because we're really concerned about getting out there and having a setback.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
when your God is with you,
Yes, sir.
the setback becomes a setup for the comeback. And, um, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the minister said, told him about the donkey in the ditch, and
Yes,
everybody
sir.
came and threw a stone, and, it fills it up, and he walks out of what he was, you could say was trapped in.
Yes, sir. Yes,
But
sir.
he said, brother, every knock is a boost. So we certainly had our challenges as we move toward it. As Brother Ishmael was explaining before, they just showed the Million Man March all over again, and took even the believers that didn't attend the Million Man March. They may not have been in. It put them right back there in that setting. And I think all of us that were there, we do our best to try to tell people what it was like. But I think Sunday, after Brother Ishmael shared some key points for us to look at, because you won't see that in the address. All the challenges that the minister and the nation had, and the ways we had to maneuver. So the Million Man March was too incredibly great. It's not to be duplicated. In other words, we don't need to go have another Million Man March. I doubt if we could even do it again.
Mm,
We're supposed to learn from this one.
mm,
Yeah, we're supposed to turn back and learn from this one. And I dare say we may not have really extracted all the lesson that Allah has given us from it, but it's too important for Black America. We never could have gotten there without the Black woman. So, even though they tried to say, well, they're not having women, we couldn't have gotten there without the woman. But
mm,
um, as the minister wanted to see the Black man grow up, he can't grow up through his woman in that sense, because only God can make a man.
mm, mm.
So I thank you, um, and we thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for that call, which challenges us um, to walk in really in his faith in the God who would bring this great accomplishment um, to fruition and display before the world.
That's a fact. All praise due to Allah. You teaching, bro, making people and bear witness. And welcome salam, Sister Miriam, Sister Naima, and thank you, Shaka, Brother Shaka. He said top of the clock. Thank you very much for making salam. People are showing love all around the world. Please let us know what city, state, and/or country you all are watching from. We want to ask you again, sir. Um, well, from a different way, as far as you said, challenges. Can you let us know personally, being a representative in the city, what type of challenges were there in the May Man March, and it's just organizing Black people. You're great at that. What
Yeah.
type of challenges do the young people
Yes.
have to look forward to when trying to
Yes, sir.
organize people for anything?
Yes, sir. Well, one would be, you really have to have the resolve. You have to know your purpose. As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said to Black men, go back, join a church, join a mosque, join something for moral and spiritual development. Why? Because as you join organizations to really organize to make impact and try to bring social change, the change will never be for the better if there's no moral and spiritual development in yourself.
mm,
You'll just have a lot of nice speeches and nice words, but the character that undergirds them and the actions that flow therefrom. Look at the world today.
mm,
The Constitution of the United States of America, the Declaration of Independence, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says it is a belief of his that God was guiding their hand. I
mm,
can say this much for it, and I believe that God was guiding their hand, that the documents themselves, there's never been one protest in Washington, D.C. in the history of this nation
mm,
that demanded that the Constitution be changed,
mm.
that demanded that we throw away all the Constitution and write a new document of freedom. I think the protesters, no matter what color, no matter what gender, no matter what political, social persuasion, felt that the problem is not what's written in the Constitution at its core. The problem is the people not living up to it.
Mm.
That's been the problem, the basic problem. And now we're at a time where there's an erosion, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, of democratic principles.
Mm.
And, the cornerstone of a democratic society is an enlightened mind. You
Mm.
can't have an enlightened mind where the people are being dumbed down.
Mm.
The average newspaper where we used to get our information to process how we make decisions in our life as communities, they've had to take these newspapers from a high school grade level to a grammar school grade level of reading, eighth grade. They took it from eighth grade to sixth grade,
Mm.
which shows you that systematically, in a large, massive way, they're dumbing the people down. If you can't read beyond a sixth grade level, it's very likely your skills of comprehension are not what they're going to need to be for you to witness any kind of meaningful social change in your own lifetime, let alone that for your children and your grandchildren.
Yes, sir.
So we this development that is needed, um, it starts with reading. The prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him,
That's
he
right.
didn't hear the word pray. He didn't hear the word fast.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
didn't hear the word pay charity or even help mankind. He said read. And the one thing that they made sure the black man and woman in this country would never be able to do is to be able to read and write. And
Mm.
the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan always said, reading makes you right, but it's writing that makes you exact. And the all-wise nation of Islam, the East, it does everything right and exact. We
That's right.
read first and we write. And when you read, you learn more about who's communicating with you. When you write, you learn more about yourself.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And people will bear witness. Walaikum salam. Happy Holy Day of Atonement to Brother Demeric and everybody who's watching. The people saying, bear witness. I
Praise be
wanted to,
to Allah.
yes, sir. Okay. I wanted to ask you about. We coming back. We got so many questions for you, Minister. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask you. I had the honor of witnessing you firsthand at one of the anniversaries of the Million Man March that was hosted in Philadelphia. I was with
Oh,
the
yes,
Congress
sir.
Schools Park, on post, and I got to see you all interact and the behind the scenes and how you were going from here and going. I'm like, man, Mr. Rodney, you got a lot on your shoulders. You putting together all of these things. What is it like, and what does it take to host an event of that magnitude? But you being a leader in the city, can you walk us through what it takes to host events?
I think one of the things I've learned in hosting events, and I've done it uh, as a mosque leader, so to speak, and
Yes,
I've
sir.
done it as a branch head of the NAACP and others, is um, looking for, you know, the talent and the skill sets that you need and not
Mm,
being afraid once a person is clear what they could do in that area for the whole picture, not being afraid to let some of these people work in some of these areas. Um, you know, when you're a broken people that have never had your day in the sun,
mm,
as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would term it once, uh, and and there's a longing inside of you to
mm-hmm.
be, in the sunlight. It gets challenging to organize people because you have a lot of people that want to be chief in it, and then there's no Indians.
Yes, sir.
Everybody has that problem, not just us, and especially with us because we've been made to distrust each other. And how can you build trust unless you let somebody work and then let's see what becomes of that work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And if you look, that's what God does, starting with his own prophets and messengers that he raises, and we could say that's what he's done with us. But um, when you're organizing on that scale, your father used to carry a book. Um, I want to get the title right, but he used to always have it in his hand walking.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
do delegate. The book read. And Sharif was good at delegating. Brother, I want you to do this. I want you to do that and that. And you go and you do it. In the scripture, you see a beautiful scenario of a man coming to Jesus, not for himself, but for his servant.
Mm,
And
mm,
he said, I just want you to heal my servant, Jesus.
mm.
And so Jesus turns to go with him that he may go see this man and what kind of trouble he's in. And the man tells Jesus, he reminds Jesus, I'm not a believer.
Mm,
I'm not worthy to have you walk in my house.
mm,
I represent Rome. I don't represent God. I don't even represent the people of Judea.
mm,
So I'm not worthy to have you walk in my house.
mm,
However, I believe from what I have seen of you, if you just say the word, he said, I know because I'm a captain of the guard. And
mm,
by being a captain, I tell one man to do such and such, and I tell another man to do such and such, and it's done.
mm.
Why? Because I got authority as a
Yes, sir.
captain. And when I tell a man to do this and tell a man to do that, it's done. And so I believe if you just say the word, my servant will be healed because I see you as a man with authority. You know what I mean? And so, in other words, uh, your word won't return to you void, but
Mm.
it will accomplish thereunto where your word is sent. I believe if you just say it, it's done.
Yes, sir.
So if you could inspire people to, you know, uh, reach in and try to do their best, and that's what happened in the Million Man March, and it's sort of organic. You don't have, you don't, a position becomes needed, and all of a sudden a person appears who could just take that position. It both sort of appeared at the same time, the need and the answer to the need.
Yes,
So
sir.
So I don't want to pretend like somebody sat up with this genius and laid out the perfect blueprint. You got a few essential things you know you need to do, but in the end, it comes down to people and skill sets. No one gets to any success on their own.
Mm.
Yes, praise be to Allah. So I thank the people in Philadelphia that love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. They love the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They love their nation, and they worked day and night. And it wasn't easy all the time, but we only had a few months. We did not have years to plan this and everything. We had to go to work with what we had. And as Brother Ishmael eloquently pointed out, we're not going to try to fool you and make you think all the great organizational skills were here. It was the hand of our God on this operation that that brought this success. And that's why at the end, even though we thanked everybody for offering their best effort, Brother Joshua, glory be to Allah, you
That's
know?
right.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Beautiful.
sir.
Okay. And people will bear witness to you, bro. Minutes. Walaikum salam, Sister Nia. Walaikum salam, Brother Keith Jackson. Thank you for your bear witness, and people are showing love. I wanted to ask you, sir. I was with my sister Miriam on Sunday, and we were watching the webcast with our father, Brother Sharif, where they replayed the Mayman March, and we heard the minister. I never paid attention to that at the end say the Al Fatiha at the end of the Mayman March, and
Yes, sir.
he's saying, and I'm like, man, I didn't even see the magnitude of that. And I mean, I wasn't there, but looking back at it and looking at the webcast, like look at the minister in front of all these people calling the prayer, like that's beautiful. What was it like spiritually for you to be at the Mayman March and to be
Mhm.
around Christians, Bloods, Crips, Alphas, Omegas, Republicans, Democrats, all of this? What was that like
Yes, sir.
spiritually, sir?
Sometimes when you're right in it and you're working day in and day out with the organization, it takes you a minute to
Okay,
to really stop and grasp it. And for some of us, you know, I was back home, maybe it was a couple of weeks before I just watched the whole thing. I watched from where we were and we were moving around, and I had my son with me. He was insisting on going. And I'm so glad that I took Suleiman. And
beautiful,
but
beautiful.
it was just so much to grab. I don't know if you've ever liked something as a child and you put too much food in your mouth at one time you almost couldn't chew.
Yes, sir.
That's
Yes,
what I
sir.
felt like. I said, "Oh no, this is too much. Everything is in here. He has took everything and put it in here. Everything that's going to need to be said to America after 400 years of our slavery and 200 and some years of her birth as a nation from 1776. It just felt like everything was in there. And I
Yes,
said,
sir.
I don't know how to piece it apart, parse it out, unpack it, whatever people say.
Yes, sir.
But I was happy that it was done. I have a picture in the office at the mosque, my office, of him walking through the brothers that formed a line so he could get through without people crowding. We see your father, Captain Dennis,
Beautiful.
Captain, Akil. I see a lot of different people, but the look on his face
Mm.
was like satisfaction. It was almost like a man had been in a spiritual delivery room and had
Yes,
delivered.
sir.
And I said, my God, it's done. And I'm always thinking, like as you said, this prayer that he did, he was so moved to do the prayer. Um, I, the prayer he chose was the essence of the Quran, the
Yes, sir.
Al-Fatiha.
Yes, sir.
It's called the key,
Mm, mm, mm.
and it opens up the immeasurable um, knowledge and wisdom of the God.
Mm.
Oh, and and what we have in our nature. I mean, when he when he opened, He opened with the knowledge
Yes,
that
sir.
black man, you standing here, but you got it in your nature to turn everything around on this planet. If I could get you to see it. And look what God did. Somehow C-SPAN, for whatever motivation they had, decided to show it.
Yes, sir.
And with C-SPAN showing it, it showed all over the world. So the whole world was watching it. And we have to learn how to think about other people on the planet. Don't think of them as Negroes. Yeah, they've been colonized. Yeah, they're being oppressed. Yeah, there's some missteps in history, but when something conscious raising comes on, you know, they don't let um, a football game become a deal breaker for that meet. Well, I ain't going there, man, because the Eagles are playing, or the Atlanta Falcons are playing, or these
Yes,
people are
sir.
not like that. When something comes, uh, their minds are more poised for more revolutionary material. Some of
Yes,
them are
sir.
already fighting.
Mm, mm.
So when this something like this comes on and they pause, and as the Honorable Louis Farrakhan said, well, if nearly 2 million black men came out at the call for 1 million, and America's military personnel comes to about 2.5 million, he called out an army,
That's right.
in numbers. And even though we may say, oh, it just was a nice time. We had such a good feeling. We had fun, but the white man is looking at this. This man done called out enough people to be able to fight a war.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, if you look at America, it's already a difficult country for anybody to take over. Because if you came in here and took over the White House and took over Congress and the Pentagon and a few army installations and stop the missiles from going. Everybody in America is carrying guns.
Yes, sir.
Brothers in the hood got AR, AK-47s and
Yes,
stuff.
sir.
People got grenades and rocket launchers and stuff in the hood.
Yes, sir.
How you gonna maintain doing it? Every now and then, somebody gonna shoot something at you, or I mean, this is a difficult place now to just come in and say, I'm going to take over now. I'm the new ruler.
Yes, sir.
So the only way to do this thing in America is to come through this very system and get to where that man who's sitting there in Pennsylvania Avenue now,
Mm.
and get in there. And believe me, for a man to have 34 convictions and still be able, I don't know any black man that's got 34 convictions that could keep walking the street. This man won for president.
Yes,
And I
sir.
think the where we talked about the American citizen being dumbed down, we shouldn't think that it's just black Americans that's being dumbed down. White Americans are being dumbed down.
Mm, mm,
The average type of white person that serves as Donald Trump's base is a more, at best, blue collar, trailer park living, Hams beer drinking, Dukes of Hazzard driving type of white person.
mm, mm,
The average one is not a white collar person from upper echelon society. Those are the people that design Project 2025.
mm, mm,
You know, some of our people act like Trump went in office and came up with all these ideas. These ideas preceded him.
mm, mm.
Just like Mr. Yakub came into existence, but the determined idea was already in existence before he was born.
Beautiful,
He
beautiful.
just became a vessel for the idea. These ideas to do this, what they're doing now, that's bringing such a cry in the land and excitement among the people, it was already sitting there.
Mm, mm,
On someone's desk, it needed execution.
mm, mm, mm.
See? So our our delivery uh, rests more with what we do than what they do. Every time we go to them demanding, requesting, begging for something, um, every time we tell them and the world we can't get better till somebody else make us better, we're feeding white supremacy. And if the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan taught us, if you want to kill the racist mind, you can only do it through black excellence.
Yes, sir.
So they'll see me and call me the N word. They'll see you and call you the N word. They may call our fathers here the N word. And they'll use it all the way back to those maybe that they had on the ships. But let me tell you something. I have never heard one of them call the builders of the pyramid the N word.
Mm,
These people got license and inspection departments that go back and look at their old structures and make sure that they're up to code.
mm.
Who goes to check the pyramids and the Sphinx to see is it up to code?
Go ahead.
And yet we're standing there taking selfies right by the pyramids and the Sphinx, not afraid that these old structures are going to crumble and fall down on us.
Mm, mm,
So that's a testimony to the engineering and the building, but better still, the mind and the man that possessed that mind that put those structures up there. They're not going to use the N word.
mm.
And so the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had once again has taught us correctly, and in that teaching guided us, move toward black excellence and get out from in front of his house yelling and screaming and talking about how unhappy you are. If you remain a Negro after somebody's teaching you how to be a God, you ought to be unhappy. Yeah, you don't deserve to get out of your sadness if you want change, because this is what happens when you don't take the next step. People love to hear the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and this they expressed through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But as much as you love it and try to take a piece of it here and there and go, the only place that you can go where it really works for you and where you can really become a picture of what that man is expressing when he teaches what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said God revealed to him. The only place you can take that next step is the mosque. Now, for better, worse, whatever, however somebody wants to look at our mosque and where we are right now, you can't develop any further. And guess what? You can't have change for the better unless you change for the better. Most of the meetings I'm at, people want change, but they want to stay like they are.
Oh,
So they don't understand the cause and effect law working in the universe, don't understand mathematics. Yeah,
beautiful teaching, my minister. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And people are
praise be
showing
to
love all over
Allah.
the world saying that's right. You're teaching, and people, of course, the fire emojis. This is excellent. Thank you all for watching People's Podcast. We're grateful for every like, share, subscription, every anonymous cash app, as well as super chats. Thank you all very much. I wanted to ask you, sir, about the title. I said Student Regional Minister Rodney Muhammad. How did you come from 1979 being in Chicago
Yeah.
and hearing the minister to then secretary, national secretary, then minister, then regional
I
minister?
tell you, that's a journey. But someone came to me. I was always, and I just said this to believers that some of us happen to hear about maybe a meeting, and that's good too. You heard about a meeting, you came to it, you said, "Wow," and you were touched that day, and you joined, and all praises due to Allah. That's why we have the meetings, because you never know when God's touching people in a special way.
Yes, sir.
I was one of those few always looking for something,
Mm,
and I was determined that I would find something that um, was a fit. I was a member of um, the at one time for a short period the All African People's Revolutionary Party. I knew some black lawyers that were involved there, and of course, Operation Push had got started because Breadbasket
Okay,
began to
okay,
break down, and Dr. King had been killed. But so I was always reading books. Haki Madabuti's store,
okay,
where the
okay.
Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan used to sit with some of the early meetings at his school. In fact, I had Suleiman in that school until we opened our own
Mm,
University of Islam. But the Positive Institute of Education is what he had. But he had a bookstore and, of course, Third World Press. And so that's where, when I get my little paycheck, I take something. I was always buying one or two books and just
mm,
adding up and building a library and reading. So I started there. Believe it or not, in 19 by 1978, I think it was 77, 78, I said, you know what? I'm ready to join with the brothers. I
and
thought I was going to join the Nation of Islam, and I came in to a meeting, and it was Wallace D. Muhammad. He was
mm,
called Wallace D. Muhammad at that time, and everybody was sitting. They had moved each. They were sitting on the floor, so I didn't know the difference. I had never been in the Nation, and but it was something about um, he, the American flag. He kept saying, see, I didn't know about the flag of Islam, so I didn't know what he was saying. He said, this is my flag. And he was talking about the American flag. Well, from the Black Power movement, I just hadn't accepted the American flag. So I
mm,
was already conflicted. I, I
mm,
couldn't understand it, but I was trying to find out, is this what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted or something like that? So
mm,
we saw Minister Farrakhan. I think I saw him on Juana Saunders' show. It was a show called Common Ground. And man, guys used to we be trying to get ready to go out. My family owned bars and stuff that we would go to, dancing and everything. And but we would watch that show first. Because we
mm,
didn't have devices that could tape things where I could come back and watch it later. So you had to be at home to watch it back then. And I think we saw Minister Farrakhan on there once, but suffice it to say that when we would come in late at night, the bars could stay open. All the clubs could stay open to 5 in the morning on Saturday in Chicago. So when you're coming in and the people turning the radio trying to listen to something driving in, we would hear Minister Louis Farrakhan. So we'd be up there, there's that man again. No, don't turn it. Don't turn it. He's talking. And he would be talking. And then finally someone said, well, we should go see him. He's speaking tonight
mm.
at Martin Luther King High School in the gymnasium. So I showered up and we went to see him. And man, I kind of I I didn't join that night, but I it wasn't a Nation of Islam meeting. Actually, Dr. Charles Knox, Lou Palmer,
Mm.
Hakeem Madabudi, and all them, they had put it on, but they had Minister Farrakhan as the keynote speaker.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so we were very moved. So then I was trying to find out, well, where does he speak again? Because do they nobody told us if he had a mosque, that he had.
Mm, mm,
So we couldn't find nobody. Next thing you know, he's speaking at Dunbar High School. So we go to Dunbar. He's with Kwame Ture, Religion and Revolution.
mm,
And
mm, mm,
so, I'd heard the ultimate challenge, the survival of the Black nation, now religion, revolution. And then the next time I went to see him, he was at Medina Temple.
mm,
And
mm,
I went downtown to see him there. All of this culminated into me going to the first Savior's Day. I didn't know it was the first one, but he said it when I got in there. It was at the auditorium, 1981. Yeah, and after that I joined. But I didn't join till he opened the Final Call building. So it was September of 1982. We were on 79th Street. It was the official opening of the Final Call Administration building. It was never called a mosque. And I joined there. And then I met the woman that I married, Sister Mariam Muhammad. And she was like she joined before me, but she had a tape of his, and she told me she kept it in the drawer. She refused to listen to it because she knew if she listened, she was going to stop doing everything else she was doing and she was going to go join. So she kept the tape, stopped not listening. But soon as she listened to it, she was over there finding him. And of course, we ended up at the Final Call Administration Building just when it got finished fixing up, and we opened there. And I was there basically as a private soldier.
Okay.
um, Minister Louis Farrakhan was my mosque minister. The assistant mosque minister was Minister Abdul Akbar Muhammad. And um, Brother Akbar was acting as like a national assistant minister too with
Mm.
the other mosques. And we had his supreme captain, who we had Theron, had turned on him. The
Oh,
other national, well, I'll say assistant minister, I'm not sure if Herman was dealing, because I didn't know these other mosques. You got to remember, 1981 was the first time a lot of believers saw each other, because a lot of them didn't know about the other one and the other ones.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then years later, the minister told us that they did that deliberately because some of the cells that they had produced were diseased, he said. And so I guess they didn't bring everybody into that fold.
Mm.
But it was wonderful there at the Final Call building, and we were just growing. It was a live broadcast, and I was teaching on a Wednesday night. I I actually didn't plan on the ministry, but I would be talking to brothers like I'm talking to you, and somebody said, "Brother, you should be in the ministry. You should be in the ministry." So, and I said, "Well, I don't know." So I passed it up. Then I heard Minister Akbar was doing a ministry class, so I said, "Well, I'll go." So I went to go, but then I got turned away. So I didn't bother it anymore. And then may Allah be pleased with our brother from the East Coast. He was the East Coast regional minister at that time. He was in Chicago one night at FOI and I spoke, and he said I should be a minister. And that was Brother Kareem.
Mm.
Yeah, he was Brother Linward then. But I remember when they all got their names,
Mm.
and he had a name um, after the dope busters. He had a name for your father, but he said he was holding on to it. And I
Mm.
don't know if some people don't remember that, but the name we were at a meeting at the Final Call building. We weren't on Stony Island yet.
Mm.
And I can't tell the distance of the years, but it was right around the time that the dope busters had arose and the whole thing. But he said, I have a name for you, brother, but he just didn't give it to him then. He gave it
Mm.
to him after he made him supreme captain. So the Final Call years, they were important. By 1988, I think it was 1988 in December, he made he made some changes that he wanted to do. So uh, his son Wallace, he named him Mustafa, and
Okay.
made
Okay.
him assistant supreme captain under then brother Frank,
Okay.
who he named him Ali.
Yes, sir.
But he brought his daughter on, Bessie Jean Farrakhan, for the MGT that day, and he made me the national secretary.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So we were all appointed. We were still at the Final Call building. We weren't on Stony Island yet.
Mm.
And yeah, and so, but we were growing at the Final Call building because I remember him asking me one day, Brother Secretary, what was our highest attendance on Sunday at the Final Call building? And I had the record. It's somewhere around 485, 486 technically, but when you have people standing outside and all
Yes,
around,
sir. Yes,
you
sir.
could have easily been over 500. He said, then we were justified in moving because he said, see, when you outgrow something,
Mm. Mm. Mm.
this is a justification for moving on. And of course, then the Final Call building became it was a home for many of us. It was our it was our mosque. It was everything much that I was learning as an FOI, I learned in that building.
Mm,
Um, and I was a secretary by the time we went to Mos Mariam.
beautiful.
And I stayed the national secretary until about 1991. And then he wanted me to help troubleshoot. I used to troubleshoot a lot of areas as a national secretary sometimes. So he wanted me to kind of go and do that. And I think what he's looking for, from what I remember him expressing to me, was uh, one day having an inspector general. So an inspector general might come to your city. They know how the secretary of department is. They know everything about the mosque. They know the posts. They know how things should be running. They can teach. They can do a lot of different things, but they can help shape a house up so that it runs better, and hopefully they can troubleshoot problem areas and things like that. So I've traveled to California. I traveled, I only went one place in the South, I think in South Carolina. Well, I did go to Memphis, and then and Memphis lost its place in the southern region because Brother Frank, who was the Supreme Captain then, when he was dealing with some problems there for the minister, he felt they could keep a closer watch on it by pulling it into the central. So it
Mm.
never found its way back to the southern region,
Okay, okay,
Memphis.
okay.
So, so many things were going along then. And, a lot of people don't know how a lot of people got started. Like some people think Brother Neary just started out teaching in cities. But
Yes, sir.
a lot of people don't know when he was Brother Damon, he was teaching in a lot of cities that nobody would even go to. Des Moines,
Mm.
Iowa. He would go to Cincinnati. He'd be in Louisville, Kentucky. I mean, Nuri's always been a worker
Yes, sir.
since he came in that. So, he didn't just jump out and start traveling. He's been doing this as
Mm.
Brother Damon. Then the minister named him Nuri. As from what I remember, he looked at the people in the mosque and said, "Brother, they got light in them because it's light in you." So that's
Praise,
what Al Nur means, the light. He may have more to it if you ever interview him, but that's how much of it I know. I saw a lot of believers get named,
beautiful.
but not everyone. But I remember some people being named, um, and I think one Sunday he named quite a few people. So Kareem got his name, Minister Akbar got his name,
Mm.
Dr. Aleem got his name. There was a lot of people got named one Sunday. One Friday night, the laborers were getting in, and the minister um, talked about the number one supporter of the number two poor consistently over the years was Brother Kadir. And he was Minister, Anthony then, that was a slave name, but the minister said Moses had a backer. And in the Quran, he said his name was Qadir, or something like that. So he named him Abdul Qadir Muhammad. But we were
Beautiful.
all there on a Friday night. We were so excited because he's always been a strong, strong supporter for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I guess I bring these things up because it makes my heart feel good to see brothers
Praise the
getting lifted, by the minister. I get a spiritual kick out of that, you know.
Same here. Same
But
here.
it's been a wonderful journey. After 1991, coming out of the secretary post, I learned a lot there. Um, the the troubleshooting I did, one of the cities was Philadelphia.
Mm.
So he finally sent me back to Philadelphia to be the minister in August of 1991. Yes, sir. And so we have been in this great city. It's a culture intensive city. It's the first for many things. The first Jewish synagogue is in Philadelphia, in
Mm,
America. The first black church is in Philadelphia.
mm.
First Congressional Congress was held for this nation in Philadelphia. The first White House, it wasn't in Washington, D.C., it was in
Go
Philadelphia.
ahead and teach the
Um,
history. Yes, sir.
two presidents stayed in the White House here was George Washington and then Thomas Jefferson.
Okay, okay.
Not Thomas Jefferson, he was the third. The second one, John Adams.
John Adams.
I think it was,
Okay.
I think it was John Adams, yes. But I know it was two presidents that stayed in. So it was the first for a lot of things and a lot of people, giants in this city came up. I mean, when Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff went to Detroit to be with Berry Gordy, and they couldn't reconcile the pay scale for writers and producers, and they just came home and started their own thing, the Philadelphia Sound,
Yes, sir.
and it began to emerge, and it took root. In the mosque, we had Brother William Hart, who had led the Delphonics,
Beautiful.
and you think about the songs that are re-emerging
Mm.
in commercials, and you hear a song and you say, "Man, I remember that record." And I always tell my wife, I said, "Yeah, there's some black people in the marketing room, and they say if we want to move this product, I suggest this record or that." And the mayor of the former mayor of Atlanta,
Mm.
um, uh, what's her name? Lance. She was going to run for governor, I thought.
Oh, Keisha Lance Bottoms.
Yeah, Keisha Lance. Yeah, well, her father was a singer, you know,
Okay.
back in the 50s and 60s.
I know.
He made the Monkey Time, and Major
Okay.
Lance made a few songs, but his name was Major Lance. He used to
Okay.
sing
Okay.
47th Street in Chicago at the Regal Theater.
Okay.
So when she came up with, we say, "Oh man, we know her father."
Mm.
And so when you hear that there's a couple of songs that come from back then, and you hear them on commercials coming out. Well, I brought that up to say for William Hart, the minister of Philadelphia at that time, a longtime soldier, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who did spend time in Atlanta, um, Minister Jeremiah Shabazz, great name in the nation. Um, Brother William told me, he said, Minister Jeremiah came back from Chicago one day and said the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told him to be sure to keep his masters.
Mm.
So he was one of the few black artists back then that kept all his masters. He wrote songs,
Beautiful.
arranged them, and everything. So as the Delphonics and that style of music faded out, and they pretty much couldn't get the kind of business that they got when they were at their height, lo and behold, Biggie Smalls makes a record, and he makes it from one of the Delphonics record, and it
Beautiful.
sold
Beautiful.
10 million copies. This man got checks galore. And La La means I love you, and they're still playing in Europe. Checks are coming in, but it's because
Beautiful.
he got his masters. So this money's not going over his head or passing his mailbox. These checks are coming to him,
Beautiful.
and he has passed on. May Allah forever be pleased with Brother William, but he stayed a strong soldier for
Thank
the
you.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And his family is taken care of,
Mm.
and his wife, and that. So I'm just bringing up wonderful people. So a young group is doing a 30-year anniversary of the Million Man March, and they've done
Okay.
some things. We've had two press conferences. They came to me because they wanted to learn more about it. They were not at the march, and I
Mm.
think we should realize if you were 40 years old, you were 10 years old when the Million Man March took place. So
Yes, sir.
some people were 5, some people weren't born, and some people just weren't old enough to really know what the heck was going on. But um, they're doing a march on the 26th of October, but we've had activities all month. We've been having activities. Something about this 30th year, it made a lot of people around the country want to address the Million Man March. There certainly is a need for it
Beautiful.
because the Million Man March, unlike other marches, was not sponsored by anyone. Black men and women, we went in our pockets and purses and we put the money up that we needed to get what we needed, uh,
Mm,
to get those black men down there. And some people, man, I mean, they want a lean camel, Brother Joshua, but they said, man, I'm making it to the march.
praise be
You
to God.
know, this thing was touching people. And to get there, it just wasn't a disappointment. I was speaking at a forum Thursday night in at Temple University, and I told them if I had one thing to do over back in that period, it would be that two or three final call issues would have nothing in them aside from the messenger and the minister's articles and Brother Jabril, Mother Tynetta, and that kind of thing. But it should have just cataloged all the wonderful things that different black men did when they got back home. Those stories never got told.
Mm,
Um, and and women were telling those stories.
mm.
Some women that had children by a man that never took care of her other children, and checks showed up in the mail to the tune of $2,000, $3,000. Men were just, they were contrite, they were convicted, man.
Praise
And I just didn't want it downplayed the power, the spiritual power of that march,
Yes, sir.
notwithstanding that just like Jesus got baptized, and
Mm,
the Bible says, not the devil, the Spirit of God led him into the wilderness. Well, the Spirit of God led the minister to go on a world friendship tour because people were saying, why is he going overseas now?
okay. Okay.
But he needed to go overseas. We
Beautiful.
didn't know that the Million Man March had been seen all over the globe. We didn't know how it had impacted people. We didn't know that our young people from the streets of America, young black men and women, had inspired young people all over the earth through the rap music and everything. Even in Iran, they were smuggling in Death Row Records.
Yes,
Snoop
sir.
Dogg and them. You know, the power of the rap had captured the imagination of our young people.
Mm,
We didn't know
mm.
that the leaders of the African nation, after they watched the Million Man March, they were once again re-inspired to build the United States of Africa and try to come together as one on that continent to be a greater force in the world. We didn't know that the only idea, image that many of our people of color on the planet had of us was boys in the hood, menace to society. Every thug gangster type that they could export overseas so they could make people think this is the way we look. Why? Because I go back to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan's vision. If they get a chance, they could annihilate us and they could hit the mute button on a world outcry because people would have said, well, they're thugs and savages anyway. The planet is good to be without them. But when they saw the Million Man March, we served a death blow to those images. So we're fighting, on spiritual high ground. This
Yes, sir.
warfare, man, we destroying ideas. This
That's
world was
right.
built on an idea. We killing it, man. And the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, I mean, his faith, God
Beautiful.
knows best where to put his faith. And
Um,
as he said so eloquently in the march, um, you could say David had a defect, but
mm,
uh, you got the Psalms right there in the Bible. You could say Solomon had a defect, but there's the book of Solomon. There's Ecclesiastic. You know, you can say about this prophet or that prophet and that, but their words are recruiting more people than you able to get. And they not even here. So, and a prophet is not dead until the wisdom that comes from that prophet has outlived its usefulness.
oh, wow, wow. Beautiful teaching, bro, minister. Go ahead.
So they're
Yes.
all still alive, and they have united themselves in the person of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Beautiful.
You know, He's a confirmation on every one of them because you can't be a prophet
mm, mm,
until
mm.
somebody fulfills what you prophesy.
That's right.
Yeah. Somebody could say you're a prophet. They say, yeah, when is the fulfiller coming
Mm,
to make good on what he prophesied?
that's right. That's right.
And so look, I'm talking, man, but I'm just you getting me fired up about this whole march again. But my journey, and I know it's not over. I don't know where it ends, but you know, uh, we delight in trying to show many of our young brethren, especially those coming in the nation, to get ready to hold this thing right. We hopefully we give them the best of our experience
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
so that they have it because from people like Brother Kareem, Minister Akbar, just Minister Rahman, Minister Troy Biar, uh, Brother TJ, and just those that are alive, Minister Don Muhammad. I mean, I was blessed, Minister Lucius BR. I was blessed to draw something.
Yes, sir.
And that's saying older men for counsel, young men for war.
Wow, wow.
I'm always telling young men, if you don't want the counsel of the old head, you just might lose the war.
Mm, mm, mm.
You're young men for war, but if you don't know what you're doing, you'll go to war with the wrong person,
That's right. That's right.
and you'll be fighting the wrong person like they were doing in The Godfather. Yeah, Sonny was younger,
Yes,
taking
sir.
the counsel of his father. He thought he was fighting the Tatayas, didn't know
That's
he
right.
was fighting Barzini, and got
That's
himself
right.
killed at the Crossway. You know, look, man, if you're gonna be in a fight, you should at least know why you're fighting. You go
Mm.
into the mattresses, you're doing all this, and you're fighting the wrong people. Um, and when the Godfather got out from the meeting, he's looking, and he said, "I didn't realize till today.
Yes, sir.
I've been in my sick bed. Tom, you've been the consigliere. You've been here talking with all these people, and I didn't realize till today that it was Barzini all along."
That's
And
right.
I
That's
think
what it
that
was.
should teach us, you might have good negotiation skills, you might be able to make peace and make good deals, but while you fighting, man, the deal is not the thing to make. The winning the fight is what the thing is. And that's why they had to tell Tom, you just not a wartime consigliere. You
That's right.
good
That's
for a
right.
peacetime. But man, when we fighting, we can already see you fold up. You ready to try to make peace with a man just killed one of our brothers last night, man.
Yes,
No,
sir.
we don't want to hear that right now. So I think, you know, Brother Joshua, the journey for so many, I mean, the only thing I think of though, when I walk in a room with a lot of laborers, I look around the room and I only see a handful of people I remember.
Mm.
So people are good, they come, they greet you with love and everything. And, I'm happy to see them, but it would make me feel good to see those that I came in the ranks with, you know, you're still here. Why does everybody have to leave? And I know you tire of the day in, the day out. The minister calls this a grind. And
Yes, sir.
I mean, only so many people are going to make it through this portal that Master Fard Muhammad has set up. I pray that I'm blessed and don't
Wow.
become spiritually feeble and fall away. I want to be in this. I look
Yes,
for a
sir.
second wind. And you can get a Lincoln car or a Lexus, a Lamborghini, whatever you want. The car looks good. The tires look magnificent. But man, if you don't fill the tank up, the car ain't going nowhere. And that's how we are. We're dressed up, we're looking good and everything. But if we're not stopping at the gas station or what they used to call it the filler station, because you're filling up with petrol
Mm, mm,
so
mm.
that you can move this thing, man. and we get some movement back in us because we get back to the station and fill up again.
Yes, sir.
That's what the word of God does. That's what our meetings were to be, to come to a place that you could hear the message of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad expressed today through his representative, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And we're not the real teachers who stand up, but we take from what's being taught and offer divine commentary to provoke us to think and go feed, man, and stay alive. Because once we come to spiritual life, the next order of business to me is staying alive.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Beautiful. Okay, but man, so you teaching and people are showing love around the world. Brother Daniel E., thank you for showing love. Brother Hamza, please extend greetings to your grandma, your family, your grandmother as well. People saying this is beautiful. Happy Holy Day of Atonement. Assalamu alaikum. Those appointments. December 11th, 1998. The lecture titled "The Concept of Allah and the Person of Master Muhammad." Thank you very much, Brother Captain Waleed. People showing love. We have a brief 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's
Yes,
Podcast.
sir.
But yes, sir. But I also wanted to thank you, Brother Minister, and thank your family. Thank you for your sacrifices and everything. I mean, my goodness, brother, all of these decades in the Nation of Islam, representing the teachings of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We truly respect you and honor you. But of course, I'm biased as well as my siblings because we know what it's like to be the children, as they call them in the church, the
Oh, yes,
PK,
sir.
preaching kids. So, shout out to all of your children, and may Allah continue to bless your grandchildren. And
Well, thank
man,
you.
thank your
Your,
family.
your family too, Brother Joshua. I mean, our families, and I'm always thinking about what our Supreme Cabinet today is saying, man. You ain't come this far for us to be falling away,
Yes, sir.
at the last minute in that. And of course, you have to expect like a wounded animal sometimes is more dangerous.
Mm,
The adversary of God is wounded, man.
mm.
He's wounded now. A righteous community is emerging, people who are standing the test and the test of time. All praises due to Allah, and may we get through whatsoever else Allah may have before us, believing that no matter what it is, His hand is still there. He's still there. He's present.
Allahu Akbar.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
we're not waiting on Him. He's waiting on us.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Come
sir.
on, man. Yes, sir.
Teacher. Praise be to Allah. All right, 1 second. Here we go. Here we go. Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out if you need any of that. Sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country. Sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ. My two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Excellent. Yes, sir. And thank
Yeah.
you for every like, share, and subscription. We truly appreciate everybody who watches and show love to the People's Podcast. Okay, bro, Minister, we have a few more questions for you, but you've been teaching,
Yes,
so I've been taking
sir.
all these notes. I wanted to ask you, coming back to that one, but I wanted to ask you specifically in Philadelphia, this question. We have, we call them Philly Muslims. They come to Atlanta, like the ops or the members of the other community, and it was just rough when we first came down here. Want to challenge us, want to teach us all the time. We like, come on, like man, we trying to unite, and y'all trying to fight. For you to go into the city of Philadelphia, 1991, and still be there. What were you able to do to help unite and show love and collaborate with the brothers from the other community there, so that others can take follow your lead on that, because we're trying to unite. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What have you been able to do successfully, sir?
Well, praise be to Allah. I don't know how much of the success I have. I had tremendous success with in the Christian community
Okay.
because of many of the pastors. We were able to put relationships together in that. But there were imams that I knew from some of the key mosques,
Okay. Okay.
and that's because from those mosques they used to be FOI.
Okay,
See,
okay.
a lot of the people you may be running into never had an experience with the nation.
Mm,
So they've either heard things about the nation through the lens of someone else, more than likely someone else that was disaffected. And so they would not have any real kind words for about the nation. But um, those that used to be FOI and others, there's always been still an appreciation from some of them
mm.
of the time that they spent in the nation of Islam. Um, and so we now have a mayor who has officially opened up an office of Muslim engagement.
Okay,
And
okay.
there is an imam that she has over it. And I would say he's a good choice because he's so neutral. He hasn't been on one side warring against the other one, and he
Mm.
doesn't try to dominate and say, I know Quran or this better and better. So he's just trying to do a good job and put the Muslims in a good place in the public square.
Mm.
And
Okay.
I like him and what he is trying to do there. And uh, Dr. Sophia Shabazz in our mosque, she's been made a commissioner dealing with health and that in the Office of Muslim Engagement. I've been made a commissioner dealing with
Go ahead, go ahead.
what they call conflict resolution. However, they want to bring someone in for that, but I would prefer the team from the nation who have track records like Student Minister Willie in New
Mm.
Orleans. I have a testimony host, and there are a couple of others that work around education out of Chicago, and that, and so we hope to do something in the spring with that and try to get some of the mosques because there's some good people in the masjids that want to do some things, and then there's some that are a little fearful that they may lose their grip on whatever they think they have. I'm just here to remind them, you've already lost it because they've lost it overseas. They
Mm.
don't have what they need, and what they need now is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way. I say that in a way humbly to say to them, this is the man with the kind of heart
Yes, sir.
to not just try to lead you to himself, which ain't bad, but he would be trying to take you back to the place of the prophet, peace be upon him, but more important, where the prophet would have wanted them to be
Yes, sir.
in the end time. And you know, it's disastrous. And I'm not going to let Black America, whether you're Christian, Muslim, agnostic, or whatever, I'm not going to let you be comfortable deliberately going along with a plan to write the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan out of history. Now I expect it from a fear-filled white community.
Mm.
But if you Black, you should be ashamed of yourself trying to write anybody out of Black history. And this is why you demand Blacks on city council in your cities. This
Mm.
is why you want Blacks on the board of
Mm.
different companies. You want Blacks work, how many Blacks work in this? You want DEI, you want to dot up America with Black faces. So you want Black people in every position, but you saying just don't give me a Black messenger.
Mm.
Now, we said white America was sick, but that sounds pretty sick to me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you demand, you're saying if if God, if you send me anybody, make
Mm.
sure he's from another ethnic group, preferably across the ocean.
Mm.
Don't raise nobody up from amongst us.
Mm.
That's a sick mind. And so I don't know how other cities, deal with it. If I see it, I'm just not going to let you feel comfortable writing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan out of history. And it wouldn't be just because you're in another Muslim group or something like that. No, this is all the work, the handiwork of Satan, who comes in the last days.
Yes,
This
sir.
is his last effort to save a failing kingdom,
Mm.
and world order and its systems all going down. You don't see us with any weapons in our hands. The scripture says our weapons are not carnal, they're spiritual,
Yes, sir.
mighty under God for the pulling down of strongholds. So no, we it's not our job. And as I try to mature in the light of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and walk in this light, uh, I'm learning the things that's not my job
Mm, mm,
and the things that are my job.
mm.
Some people take this on like, no, I've got to do this or this or this. First of all, you're here to help another man in his mission.
Yes,
It's
sir.
not
Yes,
your
sir.
mission.
Mm, mm,
I'm wondering why you up thinking all night.
mm.
I talked to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan once, asking him a question from the Quran, and he told me the real answer. And then before he hung up the phone, he said, "It's wonderful not to have to think." Now, he wasn't saying to me, he doesn't think on things, but what he's saying to me, my life has been thought out already.
Mm, mm, mm.
And this plan has already been thought out. The training that we're to receive, teaching and training, the
Yes,
one
sir.
thing about a train, if you put a train on the ground, it won't get anywhere. It
Mm.
can't go anywhere. It can't plow in the grass and dig in the earth. It's too heavy. But if you put it on the track,
Go ahead.
steel wheels meeting iron rails on the track, the train can move out at fantastic speeds.
Yes, sir.
But the thing about a train is the train is not the first work. The track is the first work.
Mm, mm, mm.
See? And so when the train gets on the track, it follows a track that's already been thought out.
Yes, sir. Beautiful.
We're trying to tell a man how his own mission ought to go.
Mm, mm, mm,
When he found us, we were aimless
mm,
and groping in the darkness, the Quran says, and did not know the way, so he had to show us the way. Now that's the condition we were in. Now we're going to tell him
mm.
what to do with his mission. So if we start there, as the minister said, a man says, "I need help." The minister said, the first question is, what kind of help do you need?
Mm, mm, mm.
So then he told me, okay, so then you're there to figure it out. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't have a whole blueprint laid out for him in that sense. He had to come to terms with how this goes. But as he's setting this up, he's following guidance. He said the words himself. He said, so there would be no mistake.
Mm.
Allah comes himself.
Yes, sir.
He gives the messenger the message that he wants the messenger to give the people. Then he goes and sends the angel to watch the messenger. What's the angel watching him for? To make sure that the messenger gives the message
Mm,
that
mm,
Allah
mm.
wants the messenger to give the people. Why is he doing all that? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says so there'd be no mistake.
My God. Yes, sir. Okay.
Huh? So now, if God is being that careful, and the messenger is under watch,
Mm,
then
mm,
who am I to think I shouldn't be watched?
mm, mm.
I'm just a little helper trying. You said student regional minister, and that's the title that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan kindly gives me. But in the book, it didn't say Jesus said, "Who are my regional ministers?" Jesus said, "Who are my helpers?"
Okay. Okay.
And they didn't say, "No, you mean ministers." They said, "We are your helpers in
Beautiful.
Allah's cause."
That's right.
See?
Beautiful.
That was the disciples. So praise be to Allah. As we just keep looking at things, it helps humble you more to where you really belong. And as you humble yourself, you really find the lane you need to be in. Car run a whole lot better when you stay in your lane.
Yes, sir. Okay. Uh,
Oh boy,
okay,
praise be
Ramesh,
to
we got
Allah.
two more questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Once again, we got it. Everybody, thank you to everybody who's watching in the comments. Thank you, Brother Daniel E, for bearing witness. Brother Daniel E, we want to salute you and the brothers out in Phoenix, Mosque number 32. We see you soldiering on social media in the community from Levine all the way to Scottsdale. We see y'all holding it down out there. Thank you for holding
Uh-oh.
it down, Brother Daniel E. Oh,
Boy,
I follow you. I mean, I'm
that's
privileged.
some hot territory, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's always soldiering. Thank you, Brother Daniel E. Brother Minister. We want to ask you, can you come back for part three? Because these other questions will be here all night, just
Oh,
building.
yes, sir.
But I got
I would be happy to. I'm honored to come.
praise
And
be.
you just call me and tell me when. I'll be set up better. When you called this time, we said Tuesday. I knew I had some. Fortunately, it was around the corner, but the mayor came and we did everything, and I was back in and blah blah blah. So, but you just tell me when, and I'll make the time.
All praise due to
I
Allah.
won't
Yes,
see
sir.
if I had a time. I'll make it
Thank you, sir.
so we could do it.
All praise due to Allah. We respect your time. We'll keep these rest of these questions for part three, inshallah. And man, we're honored and
Yes,
we're
sir.
well fed tonight. Thank you. For
Thank
everybody
you,
who's
beloved.
watching, where can we find you on social media, Ramesh, for people who are not in Philadelphia? Where can we see you?
Well, you can find us at Mosque number 12 has a page. I'm not sure if it's a fully developed works website. And some of our talks are on there. We are we had a broadcast called the Souls of Black Folk broadcast, not the
Mm,
Souls of Black Folk. You got to put broadcast on the end because there's a Souls of Black Folk out there. It's on YouTube. So we were able to talk to some of the people from different areas. And one of the things that we wanted to do was expand the our reach in the nation to talk with different voices. Um, I've always struggled with us talking with Black leaders only from a left-wing perspective, but we never talked to the Black conservatives.
okay.
But we say we after all Black people.
Mm,
But for years, I don't say we've deliberately ostracized them, but we just have never had them at any of our forums.
mm,
Black conservatives, Dr. Williams, Thomas Sowell.
okay.
And I'm not talking about people who are more caustic and ridiculous and all they do is sit around and put down their own black people. That's not helpful. But Booker T. Washington could have been considered a conservative.
It's a fact. Yes, sir. That's a fact.
And Booker T. Washington felt put your buckets down where you are,
That's what he said.
give us what we need, and we'll go to work building. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was once, the minister said, in talks about purchasing the campus
That's what he
of
said.
Tuskegee, an HBCU that the students cut down the trees for the lumber, baked the clay for the bricks, and built
But
their campus.
beautiful.
And it's just a demonstration
Praise be to
of a
Allah.
level of determination. And it doesn't mean that we have to go start all over again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The minister uh, talked about meeting with Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan.
Mm,
And some may not remember when the Moynihan report came out back in the late 60s. He called himself putting out a report of the dysfunction of the Black community and that the root of it was the broken home.
mm.
But many Black writers rose up against Senator Moynihan's report, but uh, they never went after the root of it. First of all, Moynihan is talking about the broken home, Black home, but he wasn't talking about who broke that home. He
mm,
wasn't talking about what were the forces that brought about the breakup of the black home. And so there are many things in history that I would love to see brought back into discussion about. Our research department in the Nation of Islam has done a fantastic job. They've gone back. We
yes,
see
sir.
reconstruction, we see the things, but sometimes you look, the black conservative is concerned because he's saying, do you know how much money was given to black people since we signed the Civil Rights
Mm,
Bill in 1964? What did we do with all that money?
mm.
What were our choices? And why are we, when I was growing up, and we weren't rich by any means when we started out in Chicago, but Joshua, we always put something together at home to eat.
Mm.
Uh, back then it might have been a mother fixed you some grits and you ate something or some oatmeal before you went to school or something. When COVID came down and it was decided that public schools were going to shut down around the country, the cry, particularly of black mothers, was that their children weren't going to have anything to eat if the schools closed down.
Mm,
How do we say black people are making progress?
mm,
And we've gone from uh, putting our nickels together to make sure our children had something to eat before they left home, to now they leave home hungry and the school is feeding them.
mm.
And they want the school now not to close for the summer and reopen in September. They want the school to stay open all summer so that the child can go up to the school to have something to eat. So this is not progress, man. And the black conservative is willing to raise the uncomfortable questions.
Yes, sir.
And it stretches. Now, there's a story behind that because it doesn't mean that we are lazy and trifling in that, but this man has worked hard to make us like that.
Mm.
And it would force the arguments would come on the table. How did we get this way then?
Yes, sir.
But if we're going to just put the black conservative down and say they're lackeys or Uncle Toms or don't belong to this, that, and the other. And so one of the things, and I just say that before we come off, one of the things that I did when Charlie Kirk was killed,
Yes, sir.
I didn't really pay a lot of attention to him, to be honest. So I started studying him and looking at his argument. He well studied in the Bible.
Yes, sir. Yes,
He
sir.
talked about it in the United Kingdom, and he talked about it in the what they call the Holy Land. And
Yes, sir.
but I mean, he has pinned some black people down where they didn't have enough of their own facts together to go argue with him,
That's
and so
right.
they're arguing with him out of emotion. Now we got a study guide to deal with rising above emotion into the thinking of God. Well, we might not think like a God right now, but we should be beyond just being emotional,
I agree. I agree.
and I'm looking at some of the arguments and things. Stephen, what's his name? Stephen Smith, that does a lot of the sports
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
commentary. So he was saying that Jasmine Crockett said she cursed Donald Trump out.
Mm,
All he was asking was, now, of course, he had a little force in his voice and everything, but he's asked, is that what we elected you for?
mm,
Why did we elect you to curse somebody out or get angry? That
mm.
we could get angry. We don't need to vote you in the office to get angry for us. We
Yes, sir.
already angry. We put people in office to kind of think beyond the emotion of anger.
That's right.
What are we really up against? And what can we do? And most of if I could say something for Stephen, it seemed like he's saying most of our people are saying, I'm okay because I'm stand up because I went out and said something. And so this make me, but I didn't do anything. I haven't
Mm,
helped pass anything. I haven't brought any bread home. And I just think we had a good time for discussing this Charlie Kirk thing. Um, he said some things that were offensive, Now, can we get past the offense to see why he did that? And
Mm.
I just saw him struggling, some black people struggling with him, and I said they just didn't present the right argument. But he was asking, uh, why are blacks killing each other?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And they were trying to say everybody's killing each other. He said, no, no, black people killing each other. 80%
Yes, sir. Yes,
of
sir.
black people that have gotten killed got killed by another black
The
person.
facts. These are
So
facts.
he said, I think it's because of out of wedlock births.
That's what he said.
And he said, and I think black men are making babies and not taking care of them.
He said.
And it's leaving these children to grow up without a father. And well, oh, they furious with him. He's racist. He said, so we've got to get past all these labels and stuff and get down to some truth. And so with black conservatives at the table, they'll raise some of these
I
uncomfortable
agree.
arguments.
I agree.
And it doesn't mean that they haven't benefited from black people, so we can show them their hypocrisy. One of the classic cases was Juan Williams saying, and he's a black conservative. Well, my resume got me my job. I don't need affirmative action. My resume got me my job. But
Mm.
Reverend Al Sharpton reminded him, brother, if it weren't for the civil rights movement, they wouldn't have even read your resume. Are you following?
We
So
gotta stay
there are
balanced. We gotta stay
arguments that are
balanced.
right on both
Yes,
sides.
sir. We gotta stay balanced. Yes, sir.
we I would just hope the nation would be a voice.
That's all I'm saying. I agree.
The minister say our truth, the white is supreme and black is inferior. He say both are offensive to God, both positions. But where's the truth to stand in between both of them to bring
Yes, sir.
and report all weakness, slackness, and wrongdoing? That's how
Go
he.
ahead.
All right. So I'll leave you with that, but that's what I'm working on.
But brother minister, I'm very passionate about politics, and some guests I just interviewed a sister. She said she's independent from she's running for mayor in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes,
But
sir.
she's definitely has a lot of strong conservative views, pro-black, but strong conservative views. Um, I just think that we should be a part of the conversation. That's all I'm saying. I
Hmm.
think the nation, because I've been listening to people, I'm like, when I hear Candace Owens, I'm like, y'all don't hear the same thing I'm hearing. Oh, because she conservative. Okay, so we need to be a part of this to be able to say, what about this or what about that? But we have just dismissed the all right wings and
Yes, it
anything I
is.
can be a part of to assist, I'm more than willing just to be a part of the conversation. That's all I'm saying.
I think I think I think it'd be healthy. I think, you know, Savior's Day, I had always hoped that we would get to where there would be some kind of for. I bet you one thing, well, maybe I won't say bet, but I just think I think that if we had a real conference like that and people knew about it, for that thing be jam-packed
I agree.
because we're not talking about it, but people would be in there today. The last thing Black America needs is dogmas,
I agree.
just saying something because it sounds right. And now we're down to if you got any view that seems like it's agreeable with anything that's linked with Donald Trump, you're a traitor
That's all I'm
and you
saying.
sold your people out. So now we're using scare tactics, but you're calling him Hitler.
Come on.
So we are getting more Gestapo-like in
I agree.
in in our views, and we're hammering you down on national television.
I agree.
There's certain shows you can't go on. They just if you just say, well, it's reasonable. I looked at Donald Trump's first term as president, and he had an opportunity to go after Hillary Clinton,
Mm-hmm.
maybe go after Joe Biden, go after Obama. Now, I know he doesn't like these folks, but in his first term, I don't remember him going after them.
Mm-hmm.
But when the election came up and Biden won and he couldn't stay in after January 6th, that was a horrible thing.
Yes, sir.
Uh, you know, and they turned around and they came after this man with everything. They
Fact.
they even they even charged him with the way his applications were, embellishing his businesses so he could get larger loans from the bank. There was no victim in the whole thing because the banks got all their money. They got paid every dime from Donald
Okay,
Trump
okay.
and his companies and that. So the whole thing just turned out to be a big sort of embarrassment, meshing him into the courts and everything. But I say this, um, they were banging at him, going after him in every state. Every time you turned around, he was in court and everything. So now he wants to pay them back. I don't say it's right to misuse
Yes,
what
sir.
you
Yes, sir.
don't call it, just like they took the Department of Defense and put Department of War. They need to change that from Department of Justice to the Department of Injustice for
Mm,
the way he's using the department now.
okay, okay.
But I'll say this, he didn't go after them first. They came after him. You got to remember they raided Mar-a-Lago.
Yes, sir.
They raided, that's his home, and that about paperwork and everything. Then Biden had paperwork that he kept, some as a senator. I mean, he didn't suffer these great raids and just different things. So we should not act like the Democrats, when they were in, they didn't sort of weaponize these agencies and go after this guy. They thought they could sink him,
Yes,
but
sir.
they didn't. He emerged through all of it.
Yes, sir.
Um, and I would say, to fulfill what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told us, Trump will be your last president.
Mm, mm. Okay, you
Yeah,
teaching. And on that note,
yeah. So
okay,
something is going on.
absolutely, I
Yeah.
agree. Brother
And
Zine
it's
Shabazz.
more cosmic than it is political because the minister is not a political man.
Mm,
You know, his predictions are coming out of a cosmic reality.
praise be to the Lord.
Yes,
Beautiful.
sir.
Yes, sir.
All
Brother
right.
Azim says salute from the West Mount Airy, Philadelphia. Thank you very much. Abdullah Sama said, Minister Rodney, open eyes and ears. Ricky Ricky Khalid says, never forget the nature of the people. The nation of Islam is the only game in town. Thank you, brother. Thank you to everybody who's watching. This only leads us up to,
Yes, sir.
this is a tease, a cliffhanger for part 3. We
Yes,
thank you
sir.
all for tuning in. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, Minister.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, brother Joshua. Thank you so much, and thank your family.
Thank you, sir.